Greetings, harbingers. Welcome to another video. A big disclaimer: if you're an atheist, if you are a believer of whatever, you are very welcome on this channel. In this channel, we discuss and we debate and we reflect about everything, all ideas, all creeds, whatever. I want to live in a world where we are free to discuss ideas and expose our thoughts, and in the end of the day, hugging ourselves while we laugh and drink a cold beer together. So I hope this disclaimer is enough. Let's get to it. You might be wondering about the title of this video. That's a funny story. I received in my email spam box this big text from the name of the website. It's not in English, it's like Free Will something. I searched, I couldn't find who wrote it, so it's not my text. Those are not my ideas. I'm not saying I agree or disagree with those ideas, but I find this text very interesting and I decided to bring it to the channel. Again, this is no intent to attack anyone's beliefs or disbeliefs. I hope I make this crystal clear. Everyone is welcome. If you understand the nature of what I'm doing here, you will understand that's a free space for debate and ideas of any sort. We're trying to find this, call it a place, a dimension, plan called 𝘰𝘮𝘮, which is the power to design universes. So if you have the power to design a universe, I don't think you'd have any more questions to be answered, right? Without further ado, let's get started. I don't know the name of the author. I have to translate because it wasn't in English. Atheism, the religion of flat earthers. What do you believe when you say you don't believe in anything? I am a creationist, an old-fashioned creationist, not a proponent of the modern intelligent design. I truly believe that at some point, 27 billion years ago, God literally snapped his fingers and created the universe. For me, the Big Bang was God snapping his fingers. My fundamental belief in creationism is not based on Genesis, but on Aristotle, the father of Western monotheism. In his Metaphysics from 322 BC, the philosopher introduced the concept of unmoved mover. Everything that moves was moved by something previous. If A is in motion, then B must have moved A, and so on. This series must culminate in an X, an unmoved mover, the primary cause, the origin of all movement in universe. Aristotle called this X God, describing him as perfectly beautiful, indivisible, and engaged in perfect contemplation, self-contemplation. Since then, the unmoved mover has been associated with the Judeo-Christian God by thinkers like St. Thomas Aquinas and Maimonides. This is the God who caused the universe, created life, and gives human a purpose. The same God that gave atheists something not to believe in. But ultimately, what do atheists believe when they claim not to believe in God? Far from having beliefs, they adopt the opposite logic. The universe is eternal, life emerged from something inanimate, and our existence is the result of pure chance. There was a time when scientific consensus held that the universe was eternal, excluding the possibility of a creator. Atheists around the world celebrated, when Nietzsche even proclaimed that time itself was in a cycle of eternal recurrence. With this conception of a time without beginning or end, the idea of God was erased from the history of science. This view prevailed until Georges Lemaitre, a Belgian Catholic priest, challenged the scientific consensus by presenting the Big Bang Theory as an explanation for the origin of the universe. By exposing the errors of the atheist establishment, Lemaitre not only advanced our scientific understanding, but also rehabilitated the possibility of God as the creator of the universe. If the universe had a beginning, it is plausible to consider that there was a moment of creation and therefore a creator. More than that, this theory validated St. Augustine's intuition in the 4th century AD that time and matter would have a common origin. Of course, the Big Bang theory does not necessarily imply a creator. However, a hypothetical creator could solve a major unanswered problem. If nothing caused the Big Bang, this event would violate the laws of conservation of mass and energy. But the farce of the eternal universe was not the first time atheist pseudoscience became the target of ridicule. In a meticulous declaration of self-love, many atheists engage in bullying flat earthers, perhaps because it makes them feel a bit smarter in comparison. They ignore, however, that the idea of a flat earth is an eminently atheist proposition originating in the works of Epicurus, an atheist philosopher of the 4th century BC who sought to delegitimize the pagan worship of the sun and the moon as physical deities, hence the term celestial bodies. He argued that they were merely atmospheric phenomena, in other words, suggesting they were mere consequences of climate change in modern jargon. For his model to be consistent with gravity, Epicurus proposed that atoms would continue to fall into an infinite void until they encountered resistance, while a spherical Earth would cause a matter to slide off its edges. A flat Earth would offer the necessary resistance to keep matter on its surface, while Earth itself continued to fall into the void, thus explaining cosmological movements. Epicurus' cosmology held that time and space were eternal, forming a continuum without beginning or end, similar to Nietzsche's eternal recurrence. In this universe, everything is material, leaving no room for metaphysics or the supernatural. Epicurus' moral conviction that God did not exist led him both an infinite universe and a flat earth. According to Epicurean ethics or selfish hedonism, the purpose of life is the pursuit of pleasure. The possibility of judgment in the afterlife would undermine this goal, motivating the belief in a purely materialistic universe devoid of sources of metaphysical morality. Thus, a pseudoscientific theory developed articulated backward to justify the premise of atheism. Although Epicureans did not deny free will, they considered it a product of chance in an infinite universe, in constant random motion. This notion of randomness remains a fundamental pillar in contemporary atheist thought, despite scientific skepticism. Some atheists misuse this theory to support the belief that we are nothing more than clusters of cells evolved from countless permutations of stardust. In this model, our thoughts, emotion, and consciousness would be mere chemical reactions and electrical impulses, or the result of accidental placements of atoms, everything reduced to white noise and enzymes. Moreover, there is the troubling question of the origin of life. Evolution explains how one species originated from another, but never addresses the origin of life itself. Regressing from one species to its ancestor, assuming there was never a creator, inevitably leads to the absurd conclusion that life must have originated from inanimate matter. Thus, atheists need to take a great leap of faith and believe that at some point in the past, a rock gave birth to a cell. Despite the deficiencies of their belief, some atheists, eager for social validation, frequently proclaim their supposed intellectual superiority, citing studies that prove religiosity inversely correlates with intelligence, or that atheists are brighter than Christians and smarter than believers. Although such studies are likely contaminated by non-scientific interests, atheists do seem to have slightly above average IQs, which is the same as saying that atheism is a belief that attracts people with basically median intelligence. An unsatisfactory, mediocre, predictable, and disappointing argument to be made by those who proclaim themselves intellectually superior based on a bunch of strangers filling out pathetic IQ tests and then handing them over to a group of bored undergraduates for tabulation. True genius aspired to reach what Bertrand Russell, admittedly a brilliant atheist, called the noonday brilliance of human genius. Being slightly above average in IQ is not the same as being brilliant. Genius is embodied by Dostoevsky writing The Brothers Karamazov, Kepler deciphering the laws of planetary motion, and Gregor Mendel establishing the principles of genetics. It is found in Vivaldi's Four Seasons, Leibniz and Newton's differential calculus, and Descartes' analytic geometry. In Dante's encyclopedic poetry, in Magellan's circumnavigating the globe, and Faraday discovering electromagnetism. That is true genius. In comparison, solving a Rubik's Cube in 10 seconds hardly qualifies as impressive. All these brilliant minds were not merely nominally religious, conforming to the social norms of their times. They were true devotees who achieved great things not despite their faith, but because of it. They believed not only in God, but also in a higher purpose for their minds and souls. They did not succumb to hedonism as a means to escape a brutal and materialistic world where our only purpose is to react to stimuli from a hostile environment until we eventually disappear, becoming as inconsequential as the stardust we are made of. Let me know your thoughts on this text, on this reflection. I'd love to hear them. And again, if you are a believer, if you are a non-believer, you are very welcome in this channel. Feel hugged. And I'd like to end this video with a sentence from St. Augustine, which I live by. In essentials, unity; in doubt, liberty; but in all things, charity. Thank you so much. See you in the next video.